This is the RBVN Network, Billerica, Massachusetts. Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich from the RBVN Studios in Billerica, Massachusetts for the first video blog of the day for Thursday, September 15, 2016, around 6:57 in the morning, Billerica, Massachusetts. Going to be a sunny day out, but a taste of fall. Highs in the upper 60s and the low 70s. It reached 90 yesterday in Boston for the 22nd time this year. And here's the news from the RBN Newswire. Baltimore Orioles beat the Boston Red Sox by the score of 1-0. The Orioles are one game out of first place in the American League East. The Red Sox start a 4-game series against the New York Yankees tonight. And also, Canada beat Russia by the score of 3-2 in overtime in the last World Cup of Hockey tune-up game before the tournament starts this Saturday. And it's Happy National Free Money Day in the United States. Hopefully you get free money today from everybody. I doubt that. And that's about it on the RBN Newswire. Be back in 1 second. My first video blog subject of the day is about a professional wrestling podcast, Exile on Badstreet. Exile on Badstreet is part of the Place to Be Nation network of podcast, and it's been around since June of 2015. Exile on Badstreet is hosted by Chris Zeldner, and he's done about 32 of Exile on Badstreet podcasts since it started. And usually the subjects that Chris Zeldner talks about on Exile on Badstreet is usually professional wrestling history stuff. Usually he's done in the past the downfall of Jim Crockett Promotions in 1988. Talked about like the first half of 1988 for Jim Crockett Promotions, and the second half, which eventually got sold to Ted Turner and eventually got rebranded as WCW. Also, Chris has talked about the history of the Fabulous Freebirds tag team, which was an interesting video blog. And Exile Badstreet is actually named kind of the Freebirds because they have the opening theme music of from Badstreet, Atlanta, GA, Badstreet in the whole USA. Anyway, also, like, they've had subjects on wrestlers such as the late great Buddy Landau, the late great Nick Bockwinkel, Invader #1, Jose Gonzalez. They had a series about talking about the UWF, which was the Bill Watts' version, which was rebranded from Mid-South Wrestling. They had a series about the history of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which was pretty interesting. They've also had a series on the Continental Wrestling Federation, which was one time in the 1980s, and he had a guest, Bo James. He's done a couple recently about the 25 greatest moments of championship wrestling from Florida, which was awesome. He's done a series on Butch Reed, and recently the last one he did was going through the history of Memphis Wrestling, the CWA from the late 70s through the early 1980s, and there'll be more on the way. He had a guest, Scott Bowden, which was pretty interesting. It's one of the most best professional wrestling history podcasts out there, and I've listened to it, and it's awesome. Also, Chris Zelgner hosts like Between the Sheets, but this is his like first video blog first pro wrestling podcast he did, and it's awesome. I recommend you listen to it because there's some great stuff, some stuff you aren't aware of, and that's about it on that. I will be back later, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google Plus with 2 more video blogs coming your way today. One is about top candidates for Manager of the Year in the American League and National League, and the third and final video blog of the night will be about NFL on Fox Sideline reporter Pam Oliver. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Button guy. Molly Osblood of WCCOX and has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart, so stunning, she's the best. Amy Sweezy's awesome. Awesome Amy. Linda Church of WPIX Channel 11 is such a rocking cool, and she's got the best legs in New York City, bar none. And Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 has a sweet southern accent. And in the words of Dee Patel last week, no bus, you've been watching the RBVN Network, Berwick, Massachusetts.